I can switch slide. Doesn't work. Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and nuclear friends. And please allow me to introduce myself. I'm Tomáš Korenek. I come from Czech Technical University in Prague, and I will just talk a little bit about using nuclear to produce heat for the district heating. I think that it's necessary today at the beginning that in terms of energy, we are using a lot of heat just for the space heating and water heating. I borrowed this nice picture from Eurostat. It's a bit old, but I think it's a good representation that we are using something like 75% for purpose just to heat water. So there is no such a problem with the electricity if we are speaking about the households. Uh, but for the space heating, in terms of some decarbonization, you can switch also to the heat pumps, which will increase the electricity consumption. But for the district heating, I think it's good to say that there are some other options. We are here at the World Nuclear Exhibition, so it will be some nuclear. Something about district heating in Europe. So usually we are speaking that in Eastern Europe there is a quite developed district heating system. So you can see in Germany that there is more than 90 gigawatt thermal capacity for the district heating, which nowadays might not work in this full capacity because of some improvement of efficiency. But also there are some other countries like in Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and also in northern countries like Finland or Sweden. But for the eastern countries, we are usually burning coal. Now we're burning gas. So it's heavily carbonized sector. And as you can see, total capacity is 300 gigawatts thermal. So it's a quite huge amount we should decarbonize. And what about the nuclear using for the heat? It's nothing new. We already are doing it. So maybe you uh, recognize the picture on the left on the top. It's the best now, one of the oldest nuclear power plant in Europe, in Switzerland, which is also delivering some heat into the local villages and cities and towns. Yeah, on the right side, it's our neighbors Slovakia. They are also delivering some heat from Jaslovské Bohunice, and it's something close to 30 kilometers. So it's not necessary to have nuclear power plant in your neighborhood. So you can deliver your heat whatever the distance is. It's just about some heat loss and some pumping loss. And because it's still like nowadays problems, so I also took a picture from the Haiyang in China, where they are also using heat from the nuclears to heat cities. And also one of the, let's say, largest project for the district heating is Zaporozhye. And if you nowadays take a look on the Google map, so you can see there are a lot of greenhouses nearby the Zaporozhye, which are using the heat from the nuclear power plant. So it's not only heat for the industry, not only heat for the district, for the households, but you can use it for also in agriculture. And how it in Czech, I didn't put a picture, but now Temelín is providing some heat into České Budějovice, which is I think 25 kilometers away. And there is also a plan to connect our other nuclear power plant, Dukovany, to provide some heat to Brno. But let's be honest, it's not for free, because what is the output temperature from the normal nuclear power plant? It's something like 40 degrees of Celsius. So you can't heat your home from this kind of low heat. So you have to sacrifice something. So typically you insert some connection between high pressure and low pressure turbine. So you need to sacrifice some kind of some amount of electricity. And basically it depends on the temperature you need for your system. So if you have some modernized system with low temperature of the district heating, so it's not necessary to sacrifice as much. But still, it's like to produce 6 megawatt of thermal, you need to sacrifice 1 megawatt of electricity. So you are losing something. So there's some additional cost you have to account if you want to use heat from nuclear power plant. It's not just to include the piping to connect your nuclear power plant to the system, but you need to also include the sacrifice loss of electricity. But still, it might be economically viable, and you can see it is. It was in past, and it is also nowadays. And how is the potential in Czech Republic? So there are some locations in Czech Republic, usually with some higher consumption, where it's economically viable to build some connections or to think about building nuclear reactors there. And also I put some dots where you can see Brno nuclear power plant, which Dukovany nuclear power plant for the future connections to the Brno, and Temelín for the České Budějovice. However, the main, let's say, district heating systems in Prague, which is something around 3,000 gigawatt hours per year. So I will show you later some case studies with it. So there is a great potential in Czech Republic, but there is also great potential in Poland, Slovakia, and in other countries, like for example in Finland, when they were also looking for the heat from nuclear power plants. Because I'm here from the Czech Technical University, and we are working on our own solution to provide heat from the nuclear. So that's our heat-only reactor, Teplator, which is just heat and reactor put together in Czech language. And we started as a university project from at the Czech Technical University in Prague and the University of West Bohemia. It's something like 4 years ago, and we took quite a good path on this, developing our project into more. And what's kind of unique in our project, because we are focusing only for heat. So we don't need some special Gen 4 reactors with high temperature to produce hydrogen, because we only need heat something like 130 degrees Celsius. So it's not necessary to go to higher temperatures, which corresponds to the higher pressures. So we are using low operation parameters, which means that our reactor will be cheaper, because obviously you don't need to cover all the pressure and so on. It's also quite unique. We are using already licensed fuel, which is used in Dukovany from the reactor VVR440, and it's a heavy water reactor. The reason is it started as an idea to use the fuel from the Dukovany, which was removed from the reactor, and there is still some, let's say, some reactivity we can extract, but in our concept on low parameters and using heavy water. It can be cheap, but it's nothing. It's not so like for the electricity, because heat demand is changing during the year. During the summer, there is not such much heat demand, because you only need water to wash your hands or to take a shower. You don't need a heater at home, but you need to cover also the winter. So the price will be different for different situations, different locations, and also that we are thinking about to have more variants than just the one to cover, let's say, smaller cities and larger cities. This is just image what our path was. Then some, let's say, first CAD models were introduced, and on the right side it's let's say one of the latest which we are allowed to publish. So we took some path, we took some changes in design, and because as one of my colleagues said, we shouldn't sell our reactor as we would like to sell cars, just showing the engine. It's better to show the whole car. So we had some collaboration with one architect, which designed like the building and the surroundings. And it was interesting that I think that's the first public award for the basically for the architecture, which was for the nuclear. So this won public award and also the award of the National Center for Construction this year. And what are our future steps? Because we don't want to like just do some scientific research, improve our reactors. So our, let's say, primary goal is to license it. So nowadays we are taking steps for the licensing. So we are focusing on the licensing, and it's also connected with some work on basic finalizing basic design, moving to the detailed design. And because we already established some cooperation with Ukraine, so we have some potential location in Slavutic, and that's also some work towards possible deployments there. And to be honest, we know about the situation now in Ukraine, so let's be honest, after the war will be finished, we can start to really saying that we want to build it there. So something about the case studies we did, because to see if it's economically viable. So one of those case study was for Pilsen. I'm not sure if everybody know Pilsen because it's the most famous for the Czech beer, Pilsner Urquell. So if you visit our Czech pavilion, so you can taste beer from the Pilsen, and also there are for the nuclear there are some other companies like Škoda JS, Doosan is there. So it's a well-known city in nuclear field, and now it's the heat is provided by the free heating station. Two are for the coal. This is on the left. There is a main station. They are switching to the gas now, and district heating it's like 3,000 terajoules. You will see a little bit later how it is in speaking or something familiar for us. This is just to show you that there is a quite dense district heating system, and it's not only for the households, but it's also for the factories, for the companies like the Škoda JS, Doosan, and so on, which are located in this. This system is now connected to the together, and there is also another station located there, and this is the waste burning station, and it's newly built, and I'm using as an example because speaking about the SMRs, really like deploying it near the households where there is the close connection to the district heating system. So we can, I think, it's not necessary to build it next to our houses. We can build it some further away, as they already did for the waste burning station. And it's the same reason. You don't want to have like this kind of building to watch the chimney and to see tens of trucks running with the waste to the station. So I think that's the way what we can do. It's not necessary to directly place the SMRs in the locations of the current district heating plant, but we can build it outside of the city, and because from the nuclear projects we know that we can build it like 20 kilometers further away. And how it looks about the heat demand, as I said, it's different during the winter and during the summer. So there is some example for the city like the Pilsen. On the left side, you can see different heat demand, and on the right side, there is just a graph where I try to represent that you don't have to cover whole heat demand from one source. You can use another source, especially for the nuclear, where you have an outage, so you still have to cover your heat. So you can use another source, some peaking source. I would say I would use some gas boiler, because the fuel is, let's say, more expensive than the capital cost to build it. So that's the thing. We don't have to use our reactor to cover a whole. So it's basically depends on the location and on the heat demand. And it's good to say that as there is a different heat demand, not only during the season but also during the day, as you have some morning peaks and some evening peaks. So you can use just some hot water storage, some thermal energy storage to cover those peaks. So you can also think and use it to lower your additional peaking source. So you don't have to build a bigger source. You can use thermal energy storage. And how it looks for the Prague, because it's, let's say, one of the biggest district heating system in Czech. And nowadays, the majority of the heat is from the power plant Mělník, which is located something around 20-25 kilometers away. And it's delivers 9,000 terajoules from total 11,000 terajoules. So, as you can see, it's not such a problem to use the nuclear for the district heating. You don't have to build it next to your home. And this is just the map for the district heating. So you can see that on the top there is a transmission line from the Mělník. There are some additional heating stations. There is also some waste burning station in Prague, in Malešice. So there is a quite developed district heating system just nowadays. So I think it's good to think about just to maybe cover it from the nuclear. It doesn't matter if it's our solution, Teplator, or if it's some other solution for the another small modular reactors. And this was briefly about some situation in Czech, but you can see similarity in Poland and also in other countries with developed district heating system. So thank you for your attention and enjoy the rest of the exposition.